4-13. That's a good way to start talking about Huss a little bit, and that's one that may be closer than a 4-13. We might expect. Charlie says, Huss will make it deep in the playoffs. He has a lot of confidence in that Huss team, and maybe they're figuring things out. They beat Ashbrook, pretty good. Their rival, and I think they were maybe relieved not to have a 3-point game going to overtime at the end, and they took care of business in regulation. So maybe a swing their way. They beat Crest this year. Some really highs, but some lows as well for Huss. Losing that game to Hickory early, overtime against North Gaston. Some games that they feel like they should have back. But now the Stuart Kramer game that you were at. But so it just depends on which Huss teams show up.
Right. They're 0-0 in the playoffs. Right. They're 4-3 in the last 3 years in the playoffs. So certainly a reason for Huss to have some confidence. But West Rowan, not the same program that won all those state titles in a row, and they had KJ Parks that went on to Virginia and was a star running back. But clearly those players remember and understand that tradition. I mean, this is a school that has long expected to win. I mean, obviously not the same West Rowan as before, but it will certainly not be a pushover for Hunter Huss.
West Rowan 2 years ago came into South Point the year that South Point went to the state title game. Of course, lost in overtime to Rocky Mount. We know that story. Benched it the next year, but before that overtime game against Rocky Mount, to even get there, they needed to stop West Rowan on a 2-point conversion in the third round, or that could very easily have been a team that went to a state final. And I believe that year they lost 3 games in the regular season.
And one of West Rowan's really good teams a few years back really had their way with South Point in a Western Championship game. So it's a West Rowan that knows its way around this time of the year. And again, those players in that program have grown up around that success with this program. So I don't expect them to come in here with any intimidation about Hunter Huss because they've won 4 playoff games in the last 3 years. So Huss will need to play a good game to move on to the second round.
And for Hunter Huss, maybe the team that we saw a little bit of last year showed up against Ashbrook. Obviously went on that great run, won a bunch of games in a row, started with the South Point win, went into the playoffs, challenged Shelby, and then they come in 3A and really expected to make a deep run in the playoffs. So here they are after all the ups and downs that we talked about. They're a 4 seed. They got that number 2. The win over Crest was huge in terms of getting that, because Crest losing in the last game to Kings Mountain elevated us into the head-to-head matchup with the Chargers and got them this 4 seed. So maybe they're able to just put that all away and say, hey guys, we're a 4 seed. This is about where we expected to be. Obviously, we had some games you want back, some mistakes, but everybody has mistakes, and this is where they kind of expected to be at the end of the year. So I think it could be a way for Jamar McCoy and his coaching staff to sort of wipe the slate clean and say,
sure,
you guys got the 4 seed, you handled the business you needed to handle in the regular
season. Didn't win a conference championship, but a new goal is at hand. And,
right.
It would not shock me if Hunter Huss went on a good long playoff run. I mean, I think they're, obviously when you look at our area, the conference championship team, South Point and Kings Mountain, jump out at you, and then Bessemer City in 1A was a co-conference champion. But if you're looking for a dark horse team that didn't win a conference championship in our county, Huss is certainly the team that I think most people would look at and say, they might can do something.
2 home games would help them do something.
Sure.
They will host, if they win this game, they will host the 5-12 winner next week. So at least 2 games in Gastonia. That's big for Hunter Huss. Last year they had to go on the road, I believe, pretty early, if I remember correctly.
Certainly
they were a conference champion, but they had to go to Shelby, so that was